To start our first show, and we're so glad that you are here to join us tonight for this edition of the Jason Decanio Show on this Saturday weekend here, July 12th, 2014. Well, friends, we got a great lineup of music, but that's going to be later, as the first hour of our show has something we haven't done in over a year and maybe four months. Yeah, a year and 3 months. We have not had a real live interview on the subject that has pretty much been, as you know, a topic that, first of all, can pretty much be very touchy for some people. Other people decide that this is the truth. And you know the story of me. You know the story of you don't know the story of the guest that's actually coming on here. Once was one of them that was actually doing the stalking. Now has finally decided to come forward, make apologies, tell his side of the story, and start really telling everybody out there what the real stalker has been doing. And as you all know, yours truly has been stalked for over a year and 3 months, and it's continually going on, and it's never ending. And, of course, you know the story of the individual who's a loyal friend and true. He himself also has been stalked. There have been a lot of people who have stalked, but not as much as the guy who's listening in. But tonight our guest is none other than Keith Detweiler. Now, Keith Detweiler has many YouTube channels. He is an Amazon seller. He works very hard, but he wanted to get into the inner workings of the cyberstalker. And unfortunately, he was also emailed and harassed by the cyberstalker himself, to the point of doing some very grotesque videos against those to help out the cyberstalker. And then, of course, well, he'll tell you the story as we go along here. So that's going to be our first hour, and then later on in the program, of course, we've got some great music, news of the weird, and a whole host of other great stuff. So why not, let's further ado, get on with it, because we've got a lot to cover. Yep. Yeah, the show starts right now, my friend. That's right. And for all those who are listening out there, the show is starting. Yep. So we're going to call Keith right now, get him on the line, and talk to him. And remember, friends, this is the gentleman who once was on the side of the stalker, but now, well, you're going to hear his story in just a few minutes. Let's get him on the line right now.
Hello?
Hey, Keith, it's Jason from the Jason Decanio Show. How you doing?
Doing good. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
It's great to have you here on the show, and welcome to this edition of episode 383. So, we have a lot to talk about in an hour, and I'm glad that you were able to spend some time with us here. First and foremost, let me introduce you to everybody. This, of course, is Keith Detweiler, and he lives out in, where exactly are you out from?
Actually, I live in Marietta, Georgia.
Marietta, Georgia. And were you born and raised there, or you've had just moved there previously?
I moved here about 8 years ago.
About 8 years ago. All right, cool. And for any new, I know there's a lot of new people out there who are going to be listening. Tell us about yourself and what you do now, and what kind of story you've got to tell us.
Well, pretty much, I'm a Christian, and I believe in righteousness and doing good things. And also, about me, I am a lightweight web developer, and I've been studying it for about 10 years now. And I'm pretty much real close to my family, and we all share different thoughts on for some of the family members I have on web design.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's great. How long have you been doing web designing?
For about 10 years.
Wow. And when did you get started, or how did you take an interest into the field?
Well, I've been on the internet since there was internet pages. Actually, my fascination with the internet started about 1988.
1988. Wow.
Yeah, I was really young then, and all my friends had computers. We had computers. I had a Commodore 128, and we were going back and forth on modems talking to each other.
Oh, wow.
And there was no pages back then. It was just, you had the infrastructure back then on all the different computers of who you were going to communicate with. I mean, you had internet, but it was different than it is today.
Oh, yeah. So you guys established the first, what they call instant message.
Pretty much. Yeah, just between us, yep, we did that.
Huh. Wow. And was the, just to kind of briefly expand on it, was the connection slow? How fast was the connections between the modems?
Actually, they weren't too bad because they're all local, so they were pretty sufficient.
Did you need a phone line also, too? Or
Yeah, I had to have a dedicated phone line, and back then the phone lines were not cheap.
Oh, wow.
So I was actually mowing lawns and stuff just to be on the computer.
Jeez. Well, hey, if that was your reward to do that, then well worth the money spent.
Right.
Because most of the time, people would have computers just to play games, do bills, or something. So you and your friends went beyond what people did with computers back then.
Exactly.
My goodness. And did they
actually,
have...
I download games from, there was called a game net on green screen, which you could dial into, and actually still back then you could order games, but it wasn't like you were putting a credit card in. You would have to physically order it, and then you'd have to call them and fulfill the order.
Okay. Wow. And did they have a specific name for this kind of internet, or was it just internet?
No, it was just basically direct ordering.
Uh-huh. Wow. Direct ordering. Whew. And so even AT&T didn't even have a chance at this, or any of the phone companies. They didn't even tap into this, or they didn't have any knowledge of it.
Well, they did because they helped start it, because they were giving everybody direct lines to go off of.
Wow.
Yeah, because, the airports and all that, they were the first ones to have all that technology before it went into public.
That's amazing.
Or in the military and all that.
Wow. That's taken it back. So, phew. Because really, we only had internet the way we see it. I've only had internet for about 10 years. Around 99 is when everybody, I think, had started having access to it the way the computers were.
And that's when I really started. I was like, oh, man, they're really doing different things on here. They're doing web pages and started getting to doing some light HTML on the side as a hobby. I still do it as a hobby, but I'm not into much programming. I just like building pages.
And I remember in a conversation we had a couple days ago, you said it's not easy to build websites. It's got to be one of the toughest things to do.
Yeah, to build a website fresh from top to bottom with HTML and all the new HTML code, yeah, it takes a lot of work.
Amazing. But it's well worth it when it does come out, right?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, it's more than worth it when it does come out. I mean, I built one a long time ago, but it wouldn't ever run on today's platforms. I'd have to completely redo it.
All right. Well, when did you get into the online e-commerce?
Let me see. I started selling on eBay back in 2004. Actually, I became a customer of theirs in 2004.
And what was one of the? Could you tell us some of the products that you sold, or did you have like a service? Because some people didn't just sell products; they sell services too, right?
Yeah, they can. I just sold products. Like I sold I just sold stuff I had around the house, record collections.
What do you think is the biggest product back then and still big today on eBay or Amazon that people sell?
Ooh, that's a tough question. That is a tough question because it really doesn't really matter what you sell as long as you have a good price on it.
No, yeah.
And it's in decent condition.
Yeah.
I'd say the biggest sellers, honestly, are probably in the electronics section, like cell phones. I mean, I've sold more cell phones on eBay than I have any other item.
Now
that's just my personal sales.
Now, as far as the cell phones, like no contract phones or actual phones that you've had and then they were slightly used. I mean, were these brand new phones or What was
Yeah,
the
these are brand new
condition?
phones. Yep, I would outsource through some warehouses,
Mm-hmm.
and if you order in bulk, you get them cheaper, so then you can make a profit on it.
Ah, okay. Yeah, because it's kind of like you want to know how people would get they want to know what type of condition the phone that they were getting was going to be in, because if people were looking for slightly used or new ones, I mean, that the competitive shopping, all you got to do is look and see. It's like, my gosh, I want this $300 phone. Where can I get it cheaper?
And that is it. It's all about price.
Mm-hmm.
But back when eBay first started, back in what was it, '95?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I went on to eBay back then when the internet was young, but it was an order base. I mean, when you bought something back then on eBay, you actually had to send someone a check for the item. And I got my first item on eBay called the Internet Treasure Chest that was being sold, so you could learn how to sell and be a good seller on eBay.
Wow, that's great.
And a lot of people don't know what that is. If you go Google it, the Internet Treasure Chest wasn't really about setting up a store on eBay.
Mm-hmm. And how much money do you think you need to set up an account on eBay? Or do you think you just need no money to start it up?
As far as I know, it doesn't cost anything to start on eBay.
Right.
Not at all. eBay or Amazon, you can just get an account and it doesn't cost you anything to set up an account.
Right, because a lot of people think that it would cost you some sort of money, just a little bit to start up, because they.
That's true. A lot of people think that. I've helped a lot of people get on eBay. Like I have some friends I've helped get on eBay, and I've talked to just general people. I've been on the internet at the coffee shop, just looking at all the stuff that I've sold, and they're like, "Oh man, how do you do this?" I was like, "I'll show you. Just set up an account. It doesn't cost anything."
Very nice.
And what's good about eBay now, same with eBay and Amazon or any other platform, is the ability, you don't have to pay money up front anymore to ship your items out. That just comes off your cost of the product that you ship out.
Right. And what is this situation now with PayPal now that they still, you ran into a lot, I noticed you said you ran into a lot of problems with them holding money, freezing your assets for 21 days. Are they still doing that?
They will. Yeah, I ran into a problem in 2000. Yeah, actually it was 2010, end of 2010, 2011, where I had started putting up a lot of nice items on eBay and sold them real quick and made a lot of money, and that to them is suspicious. So they'll suspend your account and do an evaluation on it. And once they do that, back then it took like over 100 days.
Wow.
They can go up to 180 days. I don't know if they can still do that, but you had to really prove, okay, what items you're selling, where are you getting your items? Okay, well, we have them at home.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And what? I don't even know how I can put this. What kind of? Because now we've seen that there's so much suspicious activity going on. Did you ever involve yourself in any of that to try to get ahead?
I did try drop shipping on eBay from Amazon, and I'll tell you, you do not want to do that. You get yourself in dangerous grounds. As soon as one person says, "Hey, if I wanted this on eBay, if I wanted this on Amazon, I would have asked to get it from Amazon." And I ran into that twice, actually. And that's why I stopped doing that, because you really don't make any money anyway. I mean, you do. You make very little. You don't only make in the residual off those items. And it's a very small amount if you're not careful.
So explain to us what drop shipping is, basically.
What drop shipping is you use a company, or you use, say, a warehouse that houses your items, and then what you do is you just list them on a web page, and when they buy them, you just make sure that you're going to send them out from that location, from that warehouse. And a lot of people use Amazon as a warehouse because essentially they are a warehouse. They're just big warehouses everywhere, and that's why people use them.
Mm-hmm.
and there was some controversy if it was legal or not, and it is not illegal. You can actually use Walmart, Kmart. You can use anybody that has a warehouse and get affiliated with them and drop ship the items.
Until you get caught, of course, right? And then you're in, like
Well,
you said.
it looks bad if someone complains, yes.
Yeah. And now, is that the same as using stealth?
I would say no. It's not the same as using like a stealth account.
Okay. Because there have been now in the news, and of course what's been going on the internet, lots of individuals are using stealth accounts to get back on. They're, as you were saying in previous conversations up to this interview, it's a big thing nowadays to try to get back on if you've been thrown off eBay or, for that matter, Amazon because of illegal activities. What's your take on how they need to monitor this?
Yes, the IP address, your proxy IPs can be masked through any computer to get back on eBay. It doesn't take a lot of work. It's actually very easy. I did this, and but if they catch you, they'll throw you off.
Yeah.
And once you've been thrown, if you're a good seller, you will not be thrown off eBay. At the worst, they're going to maybe investigate your account, but they're not going to completely throw you off, not unless you are doing something that is illegal. And you shouldn't have to mask your IP addresses to get back on.
No, really, you shouldn't. If you've got nothing to hide on that particular situation, then you're good to go.
Right. If you're on there making stealth accounts to basically go on there, I'm just going to say rip people off.
Right.
In that manner, then yeah, you're going to keep. You're going to be suspicious no matter where you're at.
So let's move into the YouTube situation. How many YouTube channels did you make in the amount of time, and how long have you been on YouTube?
Actually, I've been on YouTube for about 2.5 years.
Okay. And in that short amount of time, how many channels have you had?
Okay, I have had at the most, about 10 channels.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been thrown off a lot because I got involved in doing things I shouldn't be doing.
So either from, do you know who threw you off, or because of what you said? What were the situations at hand here?
You'll get thrown off if someone doesn't like your video, or say you copyright some material.
Mm-hmm.
You can get naturally thrown off YouTube. YouTube itself has bots that will catch things and throw you off. Right. Or the community itself that follow you will say, hey, we don't like you for what you're doing. We're going to flag your account, and you're going to get shut down.
Right. And then there's this thing about mass flagging with fake channels. Have you noticed that in the last, I would say, year and a half?
Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. My stuff's been getting flagged quite a bit.
But it's interesting to note that you don't know who really is doing the flagging, because in the emails that Google or YouTube has sent you, they're not really telling you who did the flagging.
No, they actually don't. Not unless somebody puts in what's called a full DMCA claim.
Right.
And then you'll get the notice from who sent that out.
And we all know that there's been some false ones filed out there.
Oh, yes. Yep, there has been, and I've gotten a few of them from a certain individual.
Which we're going to talk about right now.
Right.
We are going to name him, but in the process, we're going to name him as Ebayisajoke. And
right.
You know him very well. We all know. And for those who are listening out there, know who we're talking about, okay? Feel free to, in the social stream box, friends, if anyone's listening, type some of your questions so that way we can get some questions to Keith. And this is the next half hour is going to be pretty much open questions. Now, first question I have for you, Keith, is how did you get involved with this masked man? Because we all know about Ebayisajoke's identity. We know he wears a mask. We know what he does on eBay and Amazon. And how did you wind up talking to this person or meeting him, or how did it all start?
Okay, here's how it initially started, basically with me.
Mm-hmm.
I was following a gentleman on YouTube for quite a while, but I wasn't real familiar with YouTube, so I didn't really know how to write in the boxes because I was so new to it.
Mm-hmm.
Almost 2.5 years ago. I was following Crazy New York Driver.
All right.
Okay, and then I found out he was real good with eBay and helped people with eBay. Because I wanted to get my accounts situated on eBay and be a better successful seller and get in with people that I could generally have a general interest with.
Right. Nothing wrong with that.
Right. And then one day, my account got shut down, my eBay account.
Ooh.
That was around 2010.
How did it get shut down?
It was suspicious activity from selling too many things too quick.
Ooh. Nothing that really was out of the ordinary that, just too fast.
Not for big accounts. Not for major accounts that are known to sell a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when my account got shut down, I asked Joe a question there. I need some help getting back on eBay. But he, at that time, had a lot of followers. He still has a crap load of followers. So, if he answers you, you're lucky.
Okay.
So I got answers from the people who were following him. Here's how you get back on eBay. You got to call eBay. That's when I met Ebayisajoke.
Okay. Here's a question. This is actually from Joe, and he's actually asking why he targeted me for harassment, considering.
Why he targeted Joe for harassment?
No. Why? Well, no. Joe's asking you why. He says I have some questions for Detweiler. Please ask him why he targeted me for harassment. So he's asking. He's basically saying, okay, Keith, why did you target me?
Okay, here's the thing. What was going on is initially when I met Ebayisajoke, he was going to help me get back on eBay, not with stealth. Okay, this is way before then. But he said that this seller, Crazy Driver, was screwing people on eBay, and he started giving me all of this information, showing like on Tool Hoss and other selling platforms that this guy was actually getting him thrown off.
Mm-hmm.
And that he wanted help basically to get the information out on Crazy Driver that he was what's called not a false seller on eBay, but what do you call it? That he was illegally getting his accounts. What do you call it? I don't even know what you call that.
Well, from what I know is the stalker or Ebayisajoke was illegally bidding on Joe's stuff and not paying for it. And of course, he denies the fact that he was doing this, but he used the stealth accounts. Joe has all the information, and now that Joe's putting it out there, now Ebayisajoke is saying, no, I couldn't have done that. There's no way he could possibly have traced it. Hello? Yes, you can.
Yes, you could trace it with any account, honestly, if you get with eBay. But I went against Joe because of the stuff that he was showing me, and then stuff that what Joe was saying back when he first started doing YouTube videos.
Right.
I mean, I didn't even go back that far. I didn't have no idea at that time that Joe's been on YouTube for a long time.
Yeah, Joe's been on for 7 years with his eBay videos, right. And it wasn't until like 2 years ago that Ebayisajoke started to do this stuff to him after Joe says, hey, look, I don't want to get involved with you. Okay, right. I don't care what you say. I am telling you to get out, go, bye. I don't want anything. And actually,
what initially was said with Ebayisajoke to me was that Joe was out to kick him off of eBay.
Yeah, well, we know that's not true. Joe would never, and you know it's not true either. You know that. But here's the thing: Joe did not want to
Right.
involve
In the
himself.
beginning, right.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, that's exactly it. I mean, if you heard it from the masked man himself, then surely. But we all know that Joe would not elicit any kind of sabotage on anybody.
Exactly. Well, and this is what started me going with Ebayisajoke primarily because I wanted to know what he was doing because in the background from what he said that Joe was doing, some of it made sense because he showed me videos about some of the things about some other eBay pirate guy and then show baiting accounts and he was showing me all these videos. I was like, well, it's possible. He's like, well, I need help getting this guy off eBay. I was like, well, for what reason?
Yeah.
What reason do you need my help to go after eBay? It's like this is one seller when there's thousands of sellers on eBay.
Yeah. Why
I
was
thought
he?
that's what your forums were about, and then I found out later his forums weren't about anything other than eBay except Joe.
Yeah.
Or Hubcap Joe's.
Hubcap Joe's. Yep. And then Joe says you did report him for something. Do you recall what you reported him for when you were still on the jokester side?
Yeah, here's what I can actually explain that.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Ebayisajoke said that they know your account and they're starting to report your stuff. And he actually gave me some accounts that said that they were reporting my stuff because every time I put something on my eBay and to sell it, someone kept reporting my stuff and they would say, "Okay, your item's suspicious. It's been taken down." I mean, this happened 10 times in a row, so I stopped selling on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
So Ebayisajoke came in and said, it's Joe's crew doing it.
Well, yeah, of course.
And later I found out when Joe was talking about fake accounts, okay, of how to look at fake accounts, of who's doing stuff. So then I was looking at the accounts that were doing it were all new accounts.
Right.
Okay? Not one account was Joe's or anybody that he knew going in there and bidding on my stuff or stuff like that.
And surely Joe only has one account on eBay. Why would he have multiple accounts? He doesn't even know how to do multiple. He wouldn't do that because he's so high in his status.
Exactly.
That's right.
So then I started following Ebayisajoke to see how far he would take all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I made some explicit videos, some rude videos, but I would not put stuff out on the internet about people. Like I didn't write articles. I just did YouTube videos.
Right.
Some very rude ones.
Mm-hmm. And on me too, but we've gotten pretty well acquainted, and you've apologized to me. You've also made apologies to Joe in a nice video, and to Jason Kelly as well.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, I do apologize. I mean, I was being stupid, and I realized that following someone that is causing harassment is not the right way to go.
Right.
And following his lead, saying, okay, well, we're going to harass all these people until we find out who they are. That's what he was having me do. He's like, well, we need to harass them so we can catch them. You need to make these videos so when they complain about your YouTube video for harassment, we can catch them and find out who they are. Well, the reason why he was doing this, or I was doing this at the time, to get the names, so he could write articles on them. That's what he was doing. I was like, dude, why are you writing articles on someone that has nothing to do with Joe?
Right.
You know, a few girls on a couple other YouTube channels were playing guitar that he wrote articles on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a 15-year-old girl that got off YouTube that was playing guitar because of Ebayisajoke.
Yeah, he is big into that kind of stuff, side hobby as it is, and he's also made a channel on it called Guitar Riffs. I think it's Guitar Riffs with a detuning or something. I'm not really sure the name of it, but it has him playing specific chords, and then at the beginning of it, he's basically saying they are copyrighted, and if you want, you'll have to pay me in order to use them for permission. So he's trying to make money again. which is one of the things he's trying to do.
But I don't. Honestly, if he wants to make money doing something legal, that's fine. But what he's doing illegally is what he's doing with the eBay stuff.
Right.
And trying to get Joe kicked off. And he's told me that in personal emails, well, not personal emails, but emails on YouTube from the channels I had cut off, that his whole agenda was to go after Joe and get Crazy Driver kicked off.
Joe also says that you, in one of the videos, you told people to trick-or-treat his house. Was that because...
Right. The reason I did that, because the information that eBay is a joke had was already there.
Were you told by Ebayisajoke to say this, though?
Actually, I was. He said, why don't you go in there and make a video saying something about Joe's house. I was like, and I'm not going to, he's told me he would not put it out. He'd only put it on YouTube for like half a day, and then he was going to delete it, which never happened.
No, he never did. So in other words, you were totally blackmailed by this guy.
Oh, I will tell you. Yeah, I was going to get into that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Charles Fitch completely 100% blackmailed me into doing a lot of stuff that he said he would not do. And then once the videos got out there, he left them up on his channels because he said, hey, look, you do these, I'm just going to leave them up there for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to take them down. He never did any of that.
No, total lying. So he basically lied to you. And now you were in contact with Doc, Ed Kuhn of Clearwater, Florida. When you and Doc were having conversations without him being there, like in the forums, I know you had an interview with Doc that was put on YouTube at one time. Did it ever occur to you that you think you were trying to really doing something wrong, or did you just have no feelings whatsoever? What were your thoughts going through as you were talking to the true accomplice to Ebayisajoke, who has now not changed his ways at all?
Oh, well, yeah, I had a thought of everything I was saying, and I knew I was not doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. But you still went ahead with it because you felt that you just didn't want. I always thought maybe you didn't want to be on the hit list because I know how bullies react to it. If you go against them in every which way, then you become the target, and you have become the target.
And that's what was going on anyway.
Right.
He would say, okay, I would say, look, I'm not doing any more of these videos. These are stupid. He's like, well, if you don't do any more, I'm going to put your information out. So, exactly. He's like, I'm going to put your information out if you don't make any more of these videos. He's like, because I don't trust you if you can't make more of these videos. I was like, I'm not making any more. I was like, they've already threatened to put me on the news.
Yeah, and you were
very fearful. He was on the news like the next day.
Yeah, and you were afraid of that because I remember that in our first conversation, you did not want to be exposed. So that's, I think, when you finally woke up and smelled the coffee and said, "Oh my God." If this gets out, I'm a dead man. I'm going to be targeted.
Yep. And then he was on the news like, look, I was following you for doing these idiotic videos, really not being comfortable in doing them because I knew I was out of my character. I really didn't want to do them. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, Ebayisajoke said, oh, you enjoy doing them or you wouldn't do them. I was like, no, I'm not doing them because I enjoy doing them. I'm only doing it now because I want to know how far you're going to take this stuff.
And he took it far.
And he's taking it real far.
He's taking it real far. One of the things you've been accused of from both sides is flip-flopping. How do you explain that?
Yeah,
well, I mean, because you were there to start off with, then you came to us for a little bit because Pete talked to you a little bit, and we were saying things to kind of convince you that, this guy is not legit. And why would you believe a guy in a mask? And then you went back to him on account of something, and then, so.
Yeah, I went back because I wanted to find out what was going on between both sides.
Right.
So I flip-flopped around. I went to what was called Team eBay, which was a name that was, I think Doc came up with, or someone came up with it. They
literally just nicknamed us because some of us do not work for eBay. I don't sell on eBay, and I let the record straight to know that I do not have an account on eBay. So if Ebayisajoke is looking for me, he ain't gonna find me. He's not going to
Right.
find me because I don't deal with that stuff. And even if he wasn't on there, I wouldn't deal with him because I know sometimes there's a lot of other scammers out there that are pulling the same crap but getting caught and they're told to back off and they're staying back off. They're backing off. Not Ebayisajoke. Oh, no. He will continue to fight no matter how many he thinks he's right. He's going to fight.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He never really says that he's doing anything wrong. Even after he was exposed on the news, and when I was threatened to be on the news, I was like, "Dude, you were on the news," and I was threatened to go with you. And then actually, Pete actually got me out of it. He's like, either you stop or you're going to be on the news with the big guy, coming soon.
And then
I'm just warning you.
And he's dead serious about it. Right? Yeah. Here's a question that Joe poses. Says, if Ebayisajoke told you to jump off the Brooklyn Bridge, would you do it?
No, sir.
Okay, that came out of left
I know
field.
I know that Joe's bad for what I've done, and I feel bad for the stuff that I said.
Yeah, I would think so too. But I've told Joe in numerous conversations since we've been talking that I think you're finally realizing that it's not worth going to jail for, because you could have went to jail if you stuck with him because you're an accomplice to that criminal. Both you and Doc would have been accomplices if you would have stuck with this.
It's correct.
And we know, well, Doc's got nothing to lose. He's an old man. He's retired and jail time for him. I mean, but I know you're still a working guy with a life, 2 jobs, and lots of internet hobbies, and you're working hard to try to keep legit. It's very difficult, I know.
Right, and that's the thing. I didn't want to go down and lose any relationships I had with people online that saw what was going on. They're like, well, if you're going to be doing this, then I'm not going to buy from you. That actually happened. I lost quite a few sales from everything that was going on.
Mm-hmm. And what's this thing that he keeps talking about with lithium technologies? Can you explain what lithium technologies is and why he keeps blaming them for
I really
DDoSing
haven't
been
up to date with lithium technologies. All I know is they have something to do with eBay or maybe some kind of security, or I'm not really sure what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I actually tried calling them to find out what they do, and they won't give you phone. They won't take phone calls.
So why do you think eBay is not prosecuting Ebayisajoke for this, considering the fact that there's so many complaints going out, so many people are getting scammed and frauded out of money, especially Joe himself, and this thing's been going on for 2.5 years. Now tacked me into it for cyber stalking, harassment. You've been harassed too yourself. You have been threatened. In fact, we've all been threatened, and we're plumb sick and tired of it. And the only person who seems to have any jurisdiction over any of us is Rob Walchek, because, he got doxxed by Ebayisajoke, sent out 3 police officers to send him a warning, but they should have arrested him right then and there.
That they should have had.
They were right there. They could have done it. I mean,
they should have. They actually should have at least brought him in for questioning.
Exactly. But they stood out there, and he filmed it. He filmed it.
Exactly.
You're basically, it's almost like he wants to get caught, yet he thinks he's immune to the system.
No, I wouldn't say he's immune to the system. The system's already come to him, and he's got his warning from being on the news, and then he got his warning from Walchek being on his website, which has a restraining order, I think, on him, or some kind of order of restriction on him, and told him not to do it anymore.
Right. But he's still doing it. Even if he's
not
even if he's still not directly doing it against Rob Walchek, he's still doing it against me. He's still doing it against Joe, Matt, Pete, you. He could even have done it to Ed, but Ed kind of is not believing any of this stuff.
Oh, he already did it to Ed. There is, and I'm not going to show anybody because I want Ed to start Googling it since he's such a webmaster. He put an article out on him about him scamming people on eBay with his cars last year.
Yeah.
8 months ago when he started following Doc. Because him and Doc actually did get in a confrontation quite a few times.
Which wouldn't surprise me one bit. Would not surprise me one bit.
So what he does is he makes his enemies, even though you try to talk to him and say, hey, why don't you just stop doing this, go on your way with business, and quit harassing people, and then he'll completely do a 360 on it. Say, oh, well, since you're against me, I'm going to put you on my website, I'm going to put your address out, I'm going to find everything about you and ruin you. That's what he told me.
Yeah.
I was like, you go right ahead, because that just proves what you did to Joe.
I also got a call from the Canton Police Department at like 10:30 in the morning from a detective with the so-called physical threat of putting a bullet to his head. Yeah, right. I don't own a gun.
That was amped up. I listened to it I did what's called an audio. I have an audio fixer on my computer software.
Mm-hmm.
And I amped it up, and it didn't, to me, even amped up, it didn't sound like anything of what they were talking about. Like, He said, oh, you threatened him with a bullet. I was like, he didn't even say that. I really did listen to your conversation, and you made the dog sounds and everything in between that.
Right.
And then when you came back today, I said bone, not bullet. But, yeah, that's exactly what it sounded like.
Right. Now, in your opinion, Keith, because if you watched from our Stop Cyberbullying Now channel, in your opinion, do you think that me and Joe have a legitimate case, not on an eBay PayPal issues, but of the 5 issues we've been talking about for the last, I would say, since a year and a half? That's defamation, stalking, harassment, bullying, and threatening, pretty much. I mean, could we get him just on what he's saying if we documented it like Doc is?
Oh yeah, I definitely think you guys definitely have a harassment case against him.
I think so.
You have more than that.
Yeah. And let me
honestly, I think the book could be thrown at him at this point.
Oh, I know.
Because the only reason I got in on you in the beginning was because Ebayisajoke said that Joe was paying you money to come after him. And I just thought, I was like, what do you mean? I didn't know who you were at the time.
Yeah.
You just came out of nowhere and said that Ebayisajoke was going to be exposed for all the stuff that he does to people.
Right.
And then I started backtracking all your guys' information that I was being given. And I was like, wow, this guy's been all over the internet harassing people. Not just Joe, which all the stuff he said he never did. I was like, what do you mean you never did it? I was like, Chuck, it's right here, right in front of me, right now. All the information you said that you didn't do is on this one website I found called ChuckFinchScammer.com. And that's right. When he woke up and said, what do you mean there's a website out on me? I was like, yeah, it's right here.
And we're not kidding you. And that's when he started doing the websites of Stop Internet Fraud Team, eBay Blows, and the new one, JasonDecanioBully.com, which I'm very, very pissed off with, and I'm going to sue him for damages on that. $20,000. You make money off of me. You don't have my consent. You're going to be sued. But first, let's get you criminally prosecuted.
You can't do a common lawsuit against him on that.
Mm. Yeah, because
that's rude.
It's
eBay Stealth Guide he put out was stolen from another eBay forum for eBay Stealth. He wrote that guide off of someone else's material that he's trying to promote to get people on eBay using the IP proxies.
Right, right.
But you can't do it. You can't really use that. You have to have a dedicated host account server to do it correctly.
Yeah. And I really liked your video that you put out a couple days ago of how to report websites that were harassing you.
Right.
And that very good information on that. That should be a given out there, friends. If you are physically harassed, well, not physically harassed, but if you're harassed by a website, and I know I've been out there, and a lot of us individuals who tell the truth including Detweiler. We know that now because I think the truth is finally sinking into you. You know.
Oh yeah, the truth is definitely sunk into me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I took the wrong road to follow that gentleman and to do the things I did, and I'd rather take a missile. I'd rather take the missile from people saying, "Yeah, you're a real jerk," and we didn't appreciate what you did, and I know Joe didn't, and I know you didn't, and anybody else that did videos about didn't appreciate any of that stuff I did to him. And if I could take it back, I would.
I think I think the apologies have been accepted. And
Joe, everybody in this world that's legitimate works hard to stay legitimate, and to work hard and take what their knowledge is and show people what to do. Joe said that in his videos with eBay. He's very knowledgeable in business.
Yep.
In his community, and I appreciate I do appreciate all of his videos. He has helped me out a lot, and he's real successful, owns his own business, real good with his community. I don't have any of that. Chuck doesn't have any of that. Doc doesn't even have any of that.
Well, Chuck,
Joe has that.
Yeah, well, Chuck is very jealous. We know that.
Yeah, he
jealousy.
is. Yeah, there's a jealousy there with him.
Yep.
Because he's not just successful on just the eBay platform. He's successful all around.
Right.
And it's hard. It's hard, dedicated work to do that. I know that with my own mother that raised me in her own business and became a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to put her name out there because of certain situations.
Correct. Yep. Let's see. Another question says, Detweiler, I think Doc put up with eBay as a joke because Doc, is a lonely old bitter man because he has not a friend in the world. Do you agree?
I would say that's pretty agreeable.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm just to understand that where Doc is and what he is now doing with Ebayisajoke.
Well, I know for a fact. Let's see. I know for a fact that every time they do a podcast, every time Doc says, I don't want anything to do with Ebayisajoke, but they do podcasts.
Right.
So he's gone back to it. He's gone back to the same, Well,
I've had emails from Doc saying, that's when they said it was a farce and they were doing it just to see what you guys would do. I honestly don't think that's true all the way, because I know that him and Ebayisajoke have had their confrontations.
Mm-hmm.
He really didn't want to get back and forth with the bickering between you in the beginning and Joe. He didn't care about that. He just wanted to stick with the eBay forums and information and what was going on with eBay, like eBay actual news.
Right. But unfortunately, it went beyond that, like Chuck, like Ebayisajoke would do. Because,
that's true.
Here's a guy in a mask who's accusing me of selling on eBay, and I have nothing to do with it. I said, you cannot file complaints or make accusations without some credible evidence. And we all know Ebayisajoke is not credible, not since day one that I started dealing with this punk.
Right. Oh, he's been involved in other legal battles besides what he's going through with you and Joe right now.
Yeah. Let's see. Joe says the truth has sunken in to Detweiler 3 times in the past. I'm not impressed. How about you, Detweiler?
Well, I don't blame Joe for not trusting me at all, from flip-flopping around, honestly. But I'm just trying to make things better and not do those things anymore.
Yeah.
And go forward with my life and just, I'm out of all that.
Well, we will.
And I want to make friends. I do not want to make enemies, because I know making enemies comes real quick when you troll around YouTube and make idiot videos.
And Detweiler, he says, Detweiler, you can call the Canton Police Monday morning and report Ebayisajoke for false complaints against Jason Decanio again. Well, I know I don't know if you've did it already, but you know.
I have not made any complaints against anybody, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I've called the police department to see what I could do because it wasn't involving you guys. It was involving Ebayisajoke, honestly.
Right.
Because his threats that he's made to me in the last few weeks. He said, "Oh, it's not me doing it." I was like, "Well, I just blocked him because I know it's him. We all know it's him doing it."
What kind of threats did he specifically say he would do to you, Keith?
Oh, like put my stuff and information out on the internet, which has already been done.
Did he mention anything of physical violence to you?
Well, actually, he did. He's like, I want to kick your ass for putting me out there." I was like, "Kick my ass?" Like, dude, you've already been out there.
Ass kicking, big thing. Yep. Now I've been told. Let's see. Put a shovel to my face. That's what he said, and he denies that. He's denied that he wants to put the boxing gloves on and go 15 rounds with me. He's denied that, but we've gotten him recorded for it. And another one is he would only get me into the squared circle if there was a charitable organization where he could donate all the proceeds after kicking my butt in the wrestling ring.
Right.
So three attacks right there, friends, on yours truly, and he denies all of them. But yet he'll say that I'm... And what was his modus operandi for the mail fraud? Did he mention that he was going to do this? Or do you know...
Not to me.
Not to you.
This was out of nowhere. He did something saying that he got a bunch of mail in his mailbox. Sent by somebody.
Yeah, by him. Who else would send fake magazine subscriptions to himself?
Exactly.
I mean, we all know, friends, that is a bogus accusation against me. He knows dang well that I don't have access to credit card information. I don't even read magazines. I told everybody the truth about this, and the fatheads still don't want to believe it. But he did.
Yeah, well,
oh, go ahead.
He's made enemies all over the internet, so he just can't blame one particular group.
Yeah, but who else is fighting this guy except me, Keith? I mean, Matt on occasion would fight him, make videos here and there. Peter's gone bye-bye. Okay? The guy in the UK, it's like, and I've gotten on everybody's cases about this. I said, you all guys have to stop making some videos. I don't care if your videos get flagged by Fathead himself. But it's like ridiculous. This has to be a defense team effort.
Right.
It cannot be me getting thrown to this guy's insults. I'm sick and tired of this guy coming on here and insulting me. He's got no right.
Exactly.
No freaking ass right, and I can tell everybody out there right now, and if he's listening, because he will, because this will be on YouTube, Jokester, you are history. That's it. You're done.
Oh, he is done. I mean, he's ruined his reputation online and as a business person and anything he does online.
That's right.
And if he says that he's making any money online, I'd like to question that fact, because I know for a fact that he does not make the money that he says he does on anything that he does.
Yeah, and he'd have to report it to the IRS for workable income. Right. So who knows if he cheats on his taxes? Because I even asked that question last year. I said, okay, if this dude is botching these numbers, which we know he is now because we finally got it, how is he reporting to the IRS every time he has to do his taxes? And I'm surprised the IRS hasn't questioned him about it.
Right.
Really surprised.
What you do online now, and actually, if you promote something saying that you make $500 a day doing this program, you have to have valid evidence that you've actually done that, or you can get in trouble. You're going to get in trouble for scamming people.
Yeah, which he would deny on a regular basis.
Right, like the one guy that wrote that vitamin book, the health book.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't have no credible evidence when he was doing those little shows. So,
right.
He got in trouble and got sued.
Yep.
Those infomercials. It's no different on the internet. You promote something, and ClickBank's gotten actually sued for this many times. but they don't say they have, but they have. People promoting ClickBank items, saying, oh, you can make all this money. Here's my screenshot of all the money I made. Well, you can manipulate those screenshots just by using an Office software.
Mm-hmm.
And then go into the code and manipulate the code and make it look like you made all that money. Easy to do.
Very easy to do.
Very easy to do.
So, and we're going past the hour. I don't know if you want to spend some more time on this or if you got other things to do.
No, not at all. I'm actually pretty good.
Okay, well, let's continue talking then. We'll extend it out here because you only going to go for an hour. But like I said, if you have any more questions for Keith, type them into the social stream box, and that way we can definitely get them answered. One of the things I wanted to ask you, Keith, is that you've been doing this, working on the computer for lots of times, and you've seen so much crap going through in and out. And is there ever a moment in your life that you would say, my gosh, I just want to do that, but then, oh, yeah. It just came back and like, uh-oh.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
There's some things I've wanted to do online. It's like, I'm not going to do that if I can't get results out of it.
Mm-hmm. And that's the name of the game, is trying to get good, positive results out of it.
Exactly.
And
you have to, in the internet community, it's hard to establish yourself in the internet community without having a legitimate, a phone number or some kind of contact information so people can call you about whatever program you're trying to promote.
Correct.
So whatever program Ebayisajoke's trying to promote, at this moment, he's ruined that reputation online.
Exactly.
Because when people call him, it's like, wait a minute, dude, you're all over, you're scattered all over the internet as this. I don't want nothing to do with you. And I didn't want that to happen, really honestly, to me, which was starting to happen. I was like, okay, I got to stop because I'm getting this information over here from these people that were emailing me saying, hey, how do I make money online? I mean, I don't make a ton of money online. I make a little bit during the year. Mm-hmm. I pay my bills. And I'm comfortable with that.
Right. Well, let's.
Go
hard
ahead. To become a millionaire, I'd say, online, not unless you have somebody backing you up with the product or a software that you've built.
Okay, Joe says, what about the WordPress site you made about me a few months ago?
A WordPress site. What WordPress site was that?
I don't. I guess he thought that. I don't know if you stated that there was a site about him. You know anything about that?
There was a website that Ebayisajoke put up that he allowed me to write some stuff on, but I had him take it down immediately.
Oh, okay.
That was around, I think, when he was going to be on the news.
Oh, so that was before the first Rob Walchek story?
Right.
Okay.
And I was like, look, I'm not writing articles on this. I said I wasn't going to write articles, and I'm not going to.
Yeah, you stated your case, and he still was a hardhead about it.
Right.
Yep.
I was like, I made the videos. I didn't want to do them. I'm not doing anymore.
Let's talk about my good friend Jason Kelly from 30JK. How did you guys find, or what? I don't know how. Because I go on there a lot, just like those punks that can make podcasts. I was going on 30JK to basically tell the story because obviously I didn't get any response from Rob Walchek. At first he didn't want to hear my story. So the videos obviously were not getting very far. So I had to take it to another friend. And, how did you guys find out about
I actually didn't find out. Chuck actually found out about eBay or Jason Kelly on somewhere that you were following him. He's like, hey, this guy's a major media outlet somewhere. And I was like, okay, well, what's he saying? He's saying that I was a cyber stalker. I was like, well, I don't think that's absolutely not true.
Right.
From all the stuff that you've been doing to people. So that's when the Ebayisajoke realized that I never trusted him.
Right.
Because I would outright say, look, all these people are coming after you.
Exactly. So yeah, and when I mentioned to Jason Kelly about this, he was very fumigated about it. He says, "How in the world could this guy say something about me?" I mean,